Hello there guys and welcome, it's Niran here and today it is time for more FIFA 14 Aston Villa career mode. I've really been slamming these out, that sounds wrong already. It's 15 seconds into the video, I've already done an innuendo. But I've been doing a lot of these videos recently, that's 3 I think in the last 6 videos. I will slow down a little bit because of exams and because of, well, I want to do some other stuff as well. But nevertheless, yeah, this will be episode 23 I do believe of Aston Villa career mode. There will be 3 games as shown on the calendar here. I will be playing Fulham, Crystal Palace and Chelsea, and seeing as absolutely nothing happened between last episode's awesomeness and this episode, I'll just be getting straight into the Fulham game. To be honest, there was a little bit of fatigue problems going into this game, because I think it had only been half a week between the last game and this one. We were at home against Fulham, so I was pretty confident going into this one, Fulham being a mid-table team in this game. Just out of Arsenal, I do believe, obviously playing on world class, a relatively strong team playing Klein and Lowton, the fullbacks, with Okore and Vla in the centre, Nzobia, Van Ginkel and Delph, the usual 3 in the centre of midfield, with Bakley and Bruma and, of course, Benteke up front. And going into this one at Villa Park, as I've renamed it on this game, as I said, I was quite confident with a very strong team, actually the strongest I could put out. We did have the first chance of the game, Bruma giving it to Bakley, he forces the save from Stockdale, a pretty good save, and it goes out for a corner. A nice bit of play from Bruma, a little nice ball back to Bakley, and he forces a pretty good save actually out of, I think it might be Stecklenburg, not Stockdale, one of the Fulham goalkeepers, but from the resulting corner, Van Ginkel puts it in, and the goalkeeper doesn't do such a good job of that, because it is 1-0 to us on the 7th minute, 7th minute, 23 goals in all competitions for Christian Benteke, with that headed goal directly from the corner. Don't get many headed goals, well, they're quite OP on this game, but we don't seem to get many. But Benteke there with a good header. Really do think the Fulham goalkeeper probably should have done better, but I'm not complaining. Only a few minutes later, though, Bakley set away, and Amor Bieta, I don't know, gets a great tackle in. I'm not going to lie, it's a fantastic tackle, but last time I checked, I don't believe Amor Bieta was quicker than Zachariah Bakley. But anyway, towards the end of the first half, Bakley was set away again, but this time only a half chance, and his finesse shot on his weaker foot is not a good one. But now moving on to the hour mark, and Brian Ruiz set away as Fulham starts to turn up in this game even. And Brian Ruiz again involved in this chance there, setting up Berbatov. A good save, Lowton should deal with it, shouldn't he? And he doesn't, of course, because Berbatov actually somehow gets that in. I don't know how. I was raging, I was throwing my controller all over the show. Bad defending from me, a good save from Zila, but how the heck Berbatov, A, shoves Lowton out of the way, and B, manages to get that on target from practically behind the goal is beyond me. But into added time in this extremely boring second half, Van Ginkel played in there by Delph, but unfortunately a good save from the Fulham keeper, turning up this time from those shots. And as we went on for another counter-attack, of course the whistle was blown by the referee to end 1-1, a bit disappointing, especially seeing as we had control of the game in the first half. And as soon as, Fulham didn't really create anything in the first half, very disappointing to end up drawing, especially in that way with Berbatov somehow craning his neck like a giraffe and managing to head it home. I don't know how that happened, but still, it did end 1-1. Looking at the match facts here, it was a relatively boring game. There were only 3 shots, I think there were only 3 shots in the entire first half, 10 by the end. I forgot, unfortunately, to show the match ratings, but I can confirm Yoris Okore was the best player on our team. Matthew Lowton there requesting a pay rise. I will do that, but at the end of the season when I have a little bit more money to invest into the wages. At the moment I do not have much. Just having a look at another scout report, another youth scout report. They're pretty much useless at the moment, because every single youth player you get is absolutely horrific. Both of them getting rejected. Awful players there. I don't know why it's so hard to scout for youth players on this game. And after the disappointment of the first game in this episode, of 3 of course, for the first time in ages I've been able to manage that, but we will play Crystal Palace, our bogey team, first time round this season. They beat us incredibly 5-2 in the reverse fixture of this one at Villa Park. A great win that was for Crystal Palace. A little bit of a change around. Nathan Baker coming into the side, as well as Max Meyer and Andreas Weimann for Nzobia. Bakley, I think, went out of the team, and Matthew Lowton, who was actually suspended after the last game for an accumulation of yellow cards. Nevertheless, the first chance of the game coming in the 7th minute yet again, as in the Fulham game, with Bruma there with the volley after the ball over from Benteke, but a relatively easy save for John Ruddy. But then the tramp, pretty much, Benteke combining a tramp in the 32nd minute with an OP near post goal, which doesn't seem to be that OP in this version of the game, but still really boring first half an hour, and Bruma there picking up the ball, evading the slide tackle, Benteke with a nice turn, and somehow Yet again, John Ruddy unable to get there. A really bad goalkeeping from the AI actually in this episode so far, but just speeding this up because pretty much straight from the kickoff we put Crystal Palace out under a huge amount of pressure there. Benteke trying to get the ball. Delph does in the end and plays a nice 1-2 with Weimann, puts the ball into the box. A nice bit of keeping there from John Ruddy, but Bruma will get there first in the race, in the speed race with Jonathan Parr. He gives it to Nathaniel Klein. He puts a nice ball in, and Benteke gets his brace. A very quick fire brace, 2 goals in 4 minutes for his 25th goal of the season and his 3rd in this episode. He's the only person to score in this episode so far. Yet again, John Ruddy will probably be a bit disappointed there, and yet again, another headed goal for the beast of a Belgian, that is Christian Benteke. But that did make it 2-0 away from home. Somehow we were beating them away, having been thrashed at home. Another chance there for Andreas Weimann from about 25 yards out. Not much doing though, and 5 minutes later, Benteke with another half chance. But that was pretty much it. Yet another horrific game. I will make it up to you, however, in the 3rd game. Slight spoiler there, but nevertheless, a 2-0 win. A great win there, but a really boring game, much like the Fulham one in the end. About 5 clear-cut chances, really, in total in the entire game, including the goals. But I remember to put up the ratings in this one. Nathaniel Klein actually getting man of the match. Great ratings for the whole of the defence there. Nathaniel Baker, Nathan Baker, Vlaar and Okore all doing well, as well as Van Ginkel there and Delph. And a good rating for Bruma as well, who was substituted early on, as was Max Meyer. They're getting a 6.4. But I got a message back from one of my scouts saying he found all he could even, I think it was in England actually. Lee Craig here with my 3-star experience and 2-star judgment. I decided to send him out to a different country, and after a bit of debate I decided on the Southern Europe country of course, Italy, a great league there over there. The Serie A and of course Serie B, I suppose if they find anyone good in the Serie B, then they can bring him over. But now moving on to the 3rd game of this episode. And to be honest, having lost against Fulham, I wasn't particularly confident going into this one. Home match, but against Chelsea. And everyone knows that Chelsea are practically impossible to play on FIFA. A slightly weakened team with Ashley Westwood coming in, but bar that, pretty much my first team available. Weimann, Delfonso, Gardner, Agbonlahor, Kieran Clark, Joseph Bennett, and Unzogbia all on the bench. I wasn't really happy with how Unzogbia had been playing recently. I actually felt in better hands with Ashley Westwood in the centre of midfield, along with Van Ginkel and Fabian Delph there. I forgot from him. I can't believe, how did I forget Fabian Delph? But nevertheless, the first chance of this game in the 8th minute there, going to Samuel Eto'o and just brushing almost past the post. But a good bit of play there, setting up Willian there. And somehow that goes in just 3 minutes after the first chance there. Frank Lampard with a nice finish. A really tight angle actually. Not sure how he managed to get that in. But Ron Vlaar really should have been clearing that. He didn't. I wasn't really happy with how Zila managed to flap at it either. But that did make it 1-0 to Chelsea. I wasn't really hugely surprised. But only a few minutes later, Van Ginkel goes forward, forces the save from Sirigu, and Bruma blasts it in on the rebound 3 minutes after Chelsea took the lead for his 11th goal of the season. Salvatore Sirigu actually in goal for Chelsea. He'll probably be disappointed actually with his effort. Well, he won't be because it's not real life, but you know what I mean. If it was, that's by the by. But still, equal amounts of BS there for both goals realistically, and that did make it 1-1. Just 2 minutes later, again though, Backley cutting inside and forcing a good save. This time Sirigu managing to deal with it, and the on-rushing winger couldn't do anything with it. That was Bruma. Willian there with the header, and somehow, I'm not sure who that was, it might have been Eto'o there, putting it into the side netting after Zila's save. But Chelsea playing well, a few lucky deflections, and Eto'o played in and makes it 2-1 in the 37th minute for his 17th goal of the season. Zila really unable to do anything. Great finish in the end. A really clinical finish, but a little bit of luck there between, with a few of the 1-2s and a few of the passes there, a few deflections. Van Ginkel actually making a tackle, and Vlaar did. Unfortunately, Bertrand got there first and played in Eto'o. Bertrand actually had a really good game, but that did make it 2-1 to the visitors. Nevertheless, Bruma there playing with a bit of nice play with Benteke. Heads it on for Van Ginkel, but a good save there for Salvatore Sirigu. But in this ridiculously good game, Chelsea would go forward, and a great save there from Robert Zila right at the end of the half. But moving on into the second half, literally the first minute of the half, continuing as the first had there, Benteke with a pretty hard chance there on the volley, unable to really do anything with it. But Willian there on Juan Mata, some great bit of play. He gives it back to Willian and really should have made it 3-1. And Chelsea just turned up a new gear in this second half. Eto'o there cutting in past Vlaar. Vlaar unable to do anything until the challenge there in the box. Real lifesaver of a challenge there in the 54th minute in this ridiculously open game. But Juan Mata playing some nice play, a nice back heel. Zila was absolutely nowhere. I don't know why he decided to go out to Juan Mata after the back heel, though. Ramirez playing it into an empty net to make it 3-1. And I mean, Chelsea were just unplayable just after the second half started. It was ridiculous there, with Ramirez getting the third goal. Benteke there with a slight chance, probably should have done better, just drags it wide. But Sirigu and Cahill make an absolute hash of things in the 77th minute. And I don't know why Sirigu doesn't come out and pick that up. Because Benteke tackles Cahill, and he could easily just come out and pick that up. He doesn't, and Benteke slots it in for 3-2, but literally a minute later, bad defending again, and Juan Mata just cushions it in the 81st minute. And this was just a stupid game. This was ridiculous. And just 9 minutes after that, Bakley cutting inside past Cahill, and a great finish to make it 4-3 in the 90th minute. It would be an absolutely monumental effort to then draw this game. We weren't able to, unfortunately, in the end, but what a game it was. Absolutely awesome. Fantastic amount of chances, fantastic amount of goals. We do end up, unfortunately, coming out the worst side in this one with the 4-3 defeat at home. But against Chelsea, I'm pretty happy with that. Well, I'm not happy with the result because we obviously lost, but I'm happy with how we played there. Benteke getting an 8.5 rating, Bakley doing well as well, and a good rating for Broom, and not a great set of ratings for the defenders, as you would expect in a 4-3 game, but a good rating there for Van Ginkel as well. But after that, this is how the table looks after the 3 games of this episode. Liverpool top of the table. Chelsea now move up into second, but they have played a game more than us as of Liverpool. So if we actually win that game in hand, there'll be 3 teams covered by just 1 point at the top of the table. Manchester United, they're in 4th on 68 points there, well ahead of Spurs and Manchester City now. We look pretty much cemented in a Champions League place. Had a Newcastle and Arsenal just about managing to revive their season towards the end. They could still make 6th, actually, and make Europe, but down towards the bottom. Crystal Palace now slipping into the relegation zone after a good episode for Norwich. Sunderland's still in with a chance of staying up as well, as Hull, Stoke and Swansea move away from the relegation zone, and Cardiff drop a little bit further down. Doesn't look as if they'll be able to get out, but they do have a game in hand on the teams above. But anyway, in this extremely long episode of Career Mode, I hope you guys don't mind that. I hope you actually like that. There's been 3 games, of course, in this episode. A draw, a win, and then a loss. So 1 of each. It's not been a bad episode, and we still maintain our position towards the top of the table. Here, just the Championship before I go. I'm not actually showing this. Reading, QPR, and Bolton look the favourites to be promoted into the Premier League for Season 2 of our FIFA 14 Career Mode, with Wigan, Leicester, and Watford just behind. Nevertheless, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. That will, of course, support the series and support the channel in its growth. Leave a comment if you liked it that much. Hope you have a good day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.